Johnny Bond, and we are waiting for Dexter Pagans, my great partner, to tune in. So we're gonna go ahead and wait for him to go ahead and tune in with us. But in partnership with WYTV7 Christian Broadcasters Network, this is When Men Open Up, a show where we are redefining manhood through transparency. Just waiting for my good brother Dexter to tune in, and we've been having a lot of new listeners. We have a lot of new followers, a lot of new people tuning in. So we really wanted to spend some time uh, talking about talking about our mission, talking about our purpose. We want to spend time just really updating everyone who is new. So we have my great partner Dexter Peggins tuning in right now. He's live with us. And Dex, man, how you doing, man?
I'm doing well, my brother. I thank you for being flexible on today, and definitely for everybody who's viewing this live. We are at two separate locations, uh, and real quickly for those who are from the DMV area, please submit in the comment section where I can find some of this mumbo sauce. So while I'm up here in the DC area, but all is well, my brother. Good to be here.
Most definitely, most definitely. So I was just letting everybody know that for the purpose of this video, we're heading to the end of this season, and we've been having a lot of new followers, a lot of new listeners, and we really wanted to spend time really just telling everybody who is When Men Open Up, what do we do, and so forth and so forth. And this is our first time, doing a show together in separate locations, so this is a new thing for us. So we're just gonna make this thing work. And anyone who is tuned in to have any questions, we want to get to those questions as well. I'm not sure if Dexter is able to see the questions, but if he's not, I'll just read out the questions and we'll just go from there. But Dex, man, I remember, I was at the point where I needed to do some more videos. I needed to put some more content out. And me and you, we always cross paths. We never did do any work together. I think we did a workshop together through my youth program, but that was pretty much it. But we always, in some form and fashion, cross paths. And I just said, you know what, this brother Dex, I need to link up with this guy. I don't know on what capacity we're gonna work with. I don't know how long we're gonna work with each other. But I said, you know what, I gotta link up with this person somehow, and I gotta go to him with a good angle. And Dex had a great book out, correct? What was the name of that book?
The Garden Experience,
Garden Experience.
the first volume of the Garden Experience.
Exactly. And I thought it would be a great idea to link up with you and email you and say, hey, look, I want to do some live videos about the garden experience. I like what it entails. I like the values. I like what you stand for. Let's do some videos on that, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely how it worked. I think, and as you mentioned, we were definitely crossing paths. The first time I think I met you was when I was on the with the New Leaders Council of Augusta, and became aware of some of the workshops you were doing. Your name came up as far as being recognized for our award ceremony that year. I said, man, this young brother is doing some dynamic things with the youth and in your workshops, and so that actually was our initial introduction. I think we just kind of spoke in passing, and
Yes.
then from there, I believe you spoke to one of my cohorts in that class, a business owner in the community, a good friend a mutual friend of both of ours, and that really kind of served as the catalyst for us connecting. And so yeah, we did a series of videos surrounding the principles in my book. And I was like, man, I really appreciate it. You was kind of getting on me by being visible, and hey, brother, you need to get out there and do some videos and stuff. And I was like, well, hey, man, I'm gonna use these videos that we're doing as my getting out there. But that just really served as a catalyst, for us to connect, start to learn from one another. I was impressed then and still am impressed now about, your character as a man. And I think, in those conversations that actually preceded those videos really kind of opened our eyes to, what will ultimately end up becoming when men open up. We were having, some really deep conversations after we would, close down the cameras, for the particular video for that week. And, as men, we were just talking about, issues that were common to us, and things that, you just don't always have the opportunity to share with other brothers. You might share it with, your close friends or stuff like that, but sometimes it can be very superficial, and I just found it very very interesting that you and I were able to have these deep conversations, find some common ground in those conversations. And like I said, that really served as the catalyst for us becoming when men open up.
Most definitely. And the funny thing is just to backtrack. I was trying to, I was pushing you to be more visible, but I was actually using you to help me be more visible as well. So I just thought it would be a great idea to link up with you on that capacity. But yeah, we had some intense conversations. It's amazing that even though on the business level we had to get so personal with each other, and just being so personal with each other and being transparent with each other, a lot of our passions were lining up. A lot of the things that you were that was really kind of frustrating you and frustrating me, or things that you were very passionate about and I was very passionate about, or different problems, they were just lining up with some of the things that we wanted to address specifically in men. Now,
Yeah.
it's a lot of people who have, different insights on, what when men open up is and what we are really trying to address and so forth. And, some people may say, oh man, here we go, another platform trying to redefine man, but,
Yeah.
redefine masculinity, and everybody is trying to put this spin on masculinity. But really, that's not the case, sort of say, really trying to put more of a positive light on masculinity and manhood. But at the same time, there are some things that, during our childhood and our upbringing, there were some things that we kind of latched on to that's
Yeah.
probably problematic, that's a little toxic. There's some behaviors that we picked up on, and we really wanted to gain some more understanding on where did that really come from? Where did those things stem from? Why do we have these triggers? Why do we tend to say these things? Why do we tend to respond to these things? So we can really just be more productive within ourselves and with the people around us, right?
Yeah, I mean, hey, brother, you hit the nail on the head, and that's why this conversation on today is necessary, because since the start of our show, we have gained more followers and stuff, and so we definitely need to just kind of make sure there's no misconception. The reality is that when we launched the show, the first thing we uh, we spoke on was the fact that there were a lot of men out here uh, committing suicide and starting to address the issues as far as them having depression and things like that. And these were pretty much kind of taboo, conversations up until the point, because at the end of the day, what it was is that we as men, we've been indoctrinated that we can't show any emotion, we can't show any signs of vulnerability, and if we do so, that is to acknowledge that we are failing. And so what you have is you have a lot of men who are dealing with these critical issues, and they don't know how to seek the help. And so, we said, what's keeping men from creating a safe space where we can have these conversations? And so, when we're talking about redefining manhood through transparency, this is not an agenda to effeminize men. You
Right.
know, at the very, trust me, you know, I'm still a little, I still got some rough edges about me, and I believe Dominique does as well. And so,
Right.
but but what I've recognized is that for a long period of time, as a man, especially in my early adulthood, I was unbalanced. You know, I was super aggressive, and the aggressiveness was really just my way of demonstrating that I did not know how to articulate my issues. And because I didn't know how to articulate my issues, I would get frustrated. And the only way
Right.
that I could release that frustration was by being aggressive. You know, I used to get into a lot of fights, as a teenager and as a young adult. There's a number of friends of mine from the military who can attest to this. When we were stationed together, I had anger issues, and it wasn't that I was walking around mad. I just lacked the know-how to talk about the stuff I was dealing with, and I did not have the trust capacity to share my struggles with other people. And so my way of venting was to act out in fits of rage. And
Right.
so fast forward some, 15 plus years later, here I'm having this conversation with you, and we're talking about, man, are you seeing all of these young brothers out here committing suicide, and all of these brothers, talking about how they struggle with depression. And we said, man, why is it such a struggle to talk about it? And just as I
Exactly.
was forming the question, why is it so difficult to talk about it? I went back to that place when I remember when I was struggling and unable to talk about it. And no, I didn't commit suicide, but I still had to manifest the rage that I was carrying because I did not know how to articulate myself. And so, when the time when you and I connected, I've lived a little bit. I've had some experiences. I've developed some tools where I was able to now recognize that a lot of the issues that I was dealing with was not rage. It was, sometimes it was just the fact that I did not know how to be transparent and vulnerable. And I learned how to be transparent and vulnerable. And in the process of learning how to do that, what I discovered was is that I was becoming a more balanced man. I understood
Exactly.
that not every issue required a certain negative reaction, or if I felt some kind of negative energy, I learned to start asking myself, okay, what is that all about? And so you and I, we were able to have these conversations, and we said, you know what, these are the conversations that we need to just have these out in the open platform, and let people hear it, because we're not unique in the sense that we're the only ones going through it. And so we just want to we want to model transparency before other people. I'll let you, pick up there, but I'll leave it at this. What we discovered was that there was a lot of women who had men in their lives, boyfriends, husbands, uncles, fathers, brothers, cousins, you name it. They would see these same issues that we were talking about, and they were saying, "Man, I always wondered why they did those things. Why were they demonstrating those issues?" And what you guys are talking about is very helpful. And then we would have the brothers who would reach out to say, "Man, I'm glad that you guys are talking about the stuff that you're talking about." And so that allowed us to that really informed us and let us know that we were on the right path as far as the platform that we are, that we have. And once again, I can't say this enough. When we're talking about redefining manhood through transparency, we're not bashing or pulling down, a lot of the characteristics of what it means to be a good man. We are good men, but we are going to go at these toxic ideas of what it means to be a man. Where when you're a young boy and you're told not to cry but to suck it up and be a man, you are setting that young boy up to struggle in his adulthood. And we need to talk about that. And we need to talk about the stressors that now are on that young man's shoulders, because for the majority of his life, he's been programmed to say that, these feelings that I feel, uh, just get over it, or they're not valid. And we need to be able to have these conversations and grow from them. So once again, we can become that balanced man.
Most definitely, man. You said a mouthful, man, and
I
I think
did.
that's
I'm
one.
sorry.
No, no, no. That's good. I think one of the biggest surprises from this platform is the number of women who are not only just tuning in, but are very curious and are, they get in just as much as the men as well. And because at the end of the day, they are connected to a brother or some man in their life, and they want to have more understanding of what's really going on, how are they thinking about this, how are they processing this, and so forth. But man, I don't know about you, but it's it's been a journey with every topic that we had,
Yeah.
and there's a lot of times where we're brainstorming, we're having our meeting, we're saying, okay, we're gonna speak about X, Y, and Z. But then after doing some research and after doing some meditating, some praying, and so forth, we realized that each topic was a much, much heavier than we anticipated.
Mhm.
And even though we talked about so much, it's amazing how we both had so much experience in everything that we spoke about, whether it was
Mhm.
direct experience or indirect experience. I think it was very surprising for me to see how much experience I really did have in all of this. And
Yeah.
with all the research that we've done, every week I'm learning something new. You know what I'm saying? And that's been a huge, huge surprise. But some of our listeners, and we may post some pictures soon. I don't think some of them know that we just recently had a workshop at Augusta University, and we talked about much of what you just got done talking about, and that's and it was titled "My Brother's Keeper," and basically we spoke about how we tend to not seek professional help, and not just professional help, but how we don't request help from our peers, our family, and so forth. And that's due to several different things, whether we don't want to put that burden on the next person, whether we are embarrassed, we don't want to have that, we don't want to be seen as being weak,
Mhm.
we don't want to be let down. Sometimes we just want to be able to do things on our own. We just want to prove to ourselves that, I can do this by myself. And it's so many different reasons and so many stigmas and misconceptions. And this is very big. I mean, we talked about how, the suicide rate is very
Mhm.
high, and it's even grown with our youth as well. There was a article that came out. They said after this Netflix, I just forgot the name of the show, but after the Netflix show had released, the suicide rate among, I believe, kids from 10 to 17 has increased by about
Yeah.
30%, and that was
Yeah.
very unfortunate. And a lot of our men, even both of us have military experience, and the suicide rate within the military is just it's sad. It's very, very sad. But we have that idea that, what, I just can't go for help. It's
Mhm.
weak to go for help. I remember in basic training how many of us, we would look down upon folks who would go to sick call. You
Mhm.
get what I'm saying? And it doesn't matter what was going on with us, unless we were very, very sick, very, very ill, physically had something going on, then we'll go to sick call. But I remember in basic training, AIT, we did not want to go to sick call. The drill sergeant, they'll say, hey, you can go to sick call, but it was always a lot of mouth that came with that. There was a lot of backlash that came with that as well.
Mhm.
So that just goes to the stigma in just that misconception that, you know what, he's weak, he's just trying to get out of training and so forth. But we'll drill that into our brothers' mindsets. We'll drill that into our partner, our brother, whoever the case may be. And that would really delay us or make us avoid seeking help.
I mean, and that's facts. I'm almost envious of the liberty and the freedom that I think a lot of women have as far as getting their stuff addressed. If they got an issue, they're going to get it resolved. But for us, we struggle. I'm approaching 40. Here real quick and real soon. And even with that being said, I think there's evidence that suggests that, we as men, we don't like to go get certain type of exams. We don't like going to the doctor. So if you're talking about something as kind of routine as a physical ailment, once again, imagine how hard it is to talk about the emotional intelligence and emotional vulnerability. That's almost unheard of. And for those who might not be familiar with Dominique and I's process as far as the topics, I'll be honest, there's topics that are actually very uncomfortable when we're discussing what we're going to talk about the next week. It's not always something that we're jumping at the bit to say, oh, yeah, let's talk about this. But because we understand the need to talk about it, we're willing to put ourselves out there. And the core mission is, to provide a safe space to talk about stuff that is uncommon so that we as men can be strong. And our belief is that as men get in right position, not only physically but mentally, we'll start to see the changes in the world. And so we talk about subjects that we believe that are a lot of times subjects that are overlooked, that are taboo, but they need to be talked about because there are men who are struggling in these areas. And so, we dare to put ourselves out there once again so that we can model what being balanced looks like as men. Not being hyper aggressive or angry all the time, and not being even super emotional, but being able to recognize that, hey, you know what, when I have a problem, I know how to talk about it. When I'm angry, I know how to address it, and I know how to address it in a healthy way. And if I'm feeling depressed, I can speak to that too. I can speak to the need to nurture my son as a father, the need to be consistent as a friend to my brother. These are things that we need to talk about and really paint the right perspective as to what these things look like.
Most definitely. And one of the biggest things that I really want our listeners and viewers to know is that they are more than willing to DM us, inbox us, any concerns, any questions, or any topic suggestions as well. We've been having a lot of people really expressing themselves in our inbox messages and through emails. It's
Yeah.
amazing what other brothers are really going through. It's amazing, what topic is going to hit somebody some type of way. And many of them have been expressing the help that we are providing, the clarity that we're providing, and the guidance that we're providing through this platform. And at the end of the day, that is the goal. We're not going to have, it's not all about us having all the answers, but sometimes we just need that space where we can just share ideas. Sometimes we just need that space to where we can just talk about certain issues that is considered quote unquote taboo in
Yeah.
society to have those conversations. It's a lot of guys. This platform has even held me accountable, and I've told this plenty of times that it made me go back to my friendships and really just express to the guys in my life that we consider each other brothers. And since we consider each other brothers, what exactly does that mean? Are we able to be transparent with each other? Are we able to speak about our relationship, speak about what's stressing ourselves out, the challenges in our lives? You know, do you even feel comfortable, you know, calling me late at night because something is really bothering you? You get what I'm saying? And that's what a brother is. That's what a friend does. But you know, do we have that understanding? And I think that's a big thing to let our brothers know, let our partners know that, hey, you know, it's okay for us to have these conversations with each other. It's okay for you to be transparent. It's okay for you to have these discussions. And, you know, you're not putting a burden on me. You get what I'm saying? And too often we feel like we are a burden to our friends. And
Mm.
it's fortunate that because of our understanding that we're not able to have these conversations with people that we consider our friends. But hopefully through our transparency, we can be a model, we can be an example that, hey, you know what, maybe I need to check on my brother every now and then. Maybe I need to ask my, you know, my friend about X, Y, and Z. You know, we're you know, we have to be more sensitive to what's really going on because unfortunately, and you just hit on it, you know, with the suicide, a lot of people who are dying by suicide, uh, you know, their friends, some of their friends didn't know that they was really dealing with that
Mm.
type of pain. And that's something that's very, very big. And it's not the by any means necessary. We're not pointing any fingers, but it is just something to highlight that sometimes we're not aware of the pain that our friends are dealing with. We're not aware of the high level of stress that our brothers are dealing with. And you know, hopefully through this platform we can go that extra mile, take that extra step to really see what's really going on with our brother.
Oh, definitely. You know, and I know we're coming up close on our closing, but I do want to say this. You know, you mentioned earlier that we just recently spoke at the Black Male Leadership Summit at the Augusta University, and two things really came. Two powerful things happened during our workshop that will stick with me for some time. I think you might remember this one. A young man, I was talking about the signs of emotional burnout, and there were like 8 signs on there, and the last sign was suicidal thoughts. But the other 7 signs, he said, what happens, if that's my everyday life, and the reality is that those particular signs, they're called warning signs for a reason because they're warning you that something's not right. And and I would, if I were to age this young man, I would say he was definitely no older than 20. And I'm thinking to myself, like, man, just imagine how many people are going through life and this is their norm. Like literally every day they have all of these warning signs. And the very next step is suicide. And so, this was letting me know, once again that, hey, man, this message, that you and I are presenting is so necessary. And to corroborate that, when the class ended, a young man came up to me and said, I needed this class. And listen, there was some awesome workshops throughout the course of that day, and so I'm going to be a little biased right now, but he said, man, this was the best class that I had been a part of all day. And and like I said, I'm just being biased right now, but the reality is that what we're talking about is necessary because there's just a lot of men out here who are struggling and don't know what getting help means, and they don't know how to go about doing it. And so, if we can be that space that provides that help in a manner that is transparent, then I know we've done what we were supposed to do.
Most definitely. And we're going to come to a close. And I really want people, once again, I want you to visit WYTV7.org. I want you to also visit whenmenopenup.com. www.whenmenopenup.com. If you have any suggestions, any concerns, any topic suggestions, please email us or inbox us whenmenopenup@gmail.com, and we'll get to that as soon as possible. But we really love and support. We really love the support from everyone. We really love the feedback everyone has been giving us, the suggestions everyone has been giving us. It's been majorly helpful. And at the end of the day, we cannot do this without you all. And you all have played a valuable part in the growth of When Men Open Up, because at the end of the day, we're really trying to attack a lot of misunderstandings, a lot of problems within people. Because at the end of the day, our whole job is to empower and to build men up. And hopefully we're doing that. And I believe we are doing that. So we do need you all's help. Dex, do you have anything else you wanted to share with everyone?
Other than just once again, thank you all for your support. It is greatly appreciated. Dominique and I are working diligently to perfect not only our craft, but to really provide greater services to you all. So thank you for the support.
Most definitely. And our season is ending soon. So please, 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 if you have any questions, any suggestions, please get to it quickly, because our season is coming to a wrap very, very soon. But in partnership with WYTV7 Christian Broadcasting Network, this is When Men Open Up, a show where we are redefining manhood through transparency. My name is Dominique Bond.
I'm Dexter.
And we are out. Thank you so much.